Hello again, Stephen, and Merry Christmas. It's not technically Christmas yet, but it is the holiday season. I can't believe I'm making videos frequently enough that I can actually make like a holiday themed video, but here we are. So ever since I took a job that still is open on Christmas Day, it's always been a little bit tricky around the Christmas season to coordinate when we're going to go home for the holidays to see family. Especially since we started traveling, I only do contracts, so I don't get paid time off, so it's always a little bit of an issue to figure out, do we go home before Christmas, after Christmas, are we just gonna go home in January between contracts? It's something we have to figure out. For where we are now, I had them right into the contract that I'd be off for the 18th through the 23rd. That way I don't miss a week of work, but we can still go home for a few days for the holidays. And so I'm about to start 5 days of working in a row before we can go to Oklahoma and get those days off. But luckily that's something I have to do and not something you have to watch. So through the magic of editing, we are going to skip ahead those 5 days and go to where we're actually leaving for Oklahoma. And just like that, it is 5 days later. So it is very early, or I guess very late, depending on what you would think of it. We are currently getting the car packed so we can go to Oklahoma. There's really no time to talk because we are on a very tight schedule. Trish is inside feeding the baby right now, and we're about to get on the road, so let's go. So as you can see, we left very early in the morning. Like I said, I had worked the previous 5 days, so I got off at 3 a.m. Wednesday morning, and we figured since he usually wakes up at 4 a.m. to feed, we would just wake him up, feed him, and then get on the road and get a head start on the road trip. From Albuquerque to Tulsa, you're looking at a 9.5-hour drive, which is pretty typical for a full-day road trip for us. However, with the baby, there are a lot of changes to consider with road trips. First of all, the difference in packing is insane. We're very used to packing for ourselves, and we can pretty much pack up a week's worth of clothes to be away from home in under an hour. However, with the baby, not only do we have to pack clothes for him, but we also have to pack his supplies. We have to pack bottles and food. We have to make sure we have both enough supplies in the car and enough supplies for when we get to where we're going. The next big difference is road tripping with a baby is obviously he has to feed. Usually we could do a 12-hour road trip in a day, only making very brief stops to stop for gas and stop for food. However, with the baby, he has to feed every 3 to 4 hours. So whenever he would start to get fussy at the next stop, we would pull over, we would feed him, get gas, walk the dog, get food for ourselves, and all that good stuff. Luckily for his first road trip, he did fantastic. We only made 2 major stops on the road and made it to Tulsa just before 5 p.m., putting our total travel time at just under 11 hours. So now that we reached Tulsa, this has been anything but what you would consider a vacation. I mean, understandably so, because we have a newborn, everybody wants to meet the baby. What's really funny, and I know how this is going to sound, and I don't mean this in a selfish or like an egotistical way, but up until now, Christmas has always been about me. Like when you're a kid, when I was a kid, obviously Christmas was about me and my brother. The Christmas day, the Christmas season, my parents would always make sure that my brother and I had a fantastic time around Christmas. When I went up to college, it was still about me because Christmas was the time when I got a month off of school so I could come home and spend time with family. And then when I moved away or when we started traveling, Christmas was still the time when we would find some sort of chunk of time where we could travel home and spend time with family. And like I said, I know how egotistical that sounds, but it's true that up until now, the time around Christmas has revolved around me in some small way, or at least for some short period of time. But major shift, now that we have a newborn, the entire point of Christmas is the baby. Everything revolves around him. Everybody in our family wants to meet him, from immediate family to extended family. And then whenever we go and see people, everybody wants to take turns holding the baby, and everybody's focus is on the baby, not on us. It's just interesting because in life you're always going through transition after transition, and this is just another one of those major transitions where now that I have a kid, Christmas is an entirely different thing than it was before. And personally, I am enjoying it so much more than I could have imagined. Christmas is an absolutely wonderful and probably my favorite time of year, and I love that I now get to share it with somebody else and make it magical for somebody else, if that makes sense. He's too young now to appreciate it, but he's going to grow up in an environment where I make it a magical time for him, just like my parents did for me. So Stephen, we had a fantastic time in Oklahoma. It was wonderful to see friends and family, and it was amazing to get to share the new addition of our family with our family and our friends. I wish that you could have been here, Stephen, to meet the baby, but I know because of logistics you weren't able to come. But hopefully we'll be able to work it out soon so that either you can come visit us or we can come down to Florida to visit you so that you can see your nephew. In the meantime, Stephen, as always, I hope that you make a video on this channel soon, and I hope that you have a Merry Christmas. I will talk to you later. Bye.